Okay, if everyone could find a seat, please, as we get ready to commence. I'd like to welcome back our live stream. And a reminder once again of the Wisdom of the Market Award. To vote, text the corresponding number of your favorite pitch to 226-909-3121. One vote per device. Make sure you get it in before at 7 p.m., please. Okay, so we now have team number 9. I'd like to welcome Big Spoon, Little Spoon to the stage, please, for their presentation.
We are Big Spoon, Little Spoon. We provide equal opportunities for all abilities through structured programming.
Stats Canada says that people living with a disability make up the largest minority group in the world. The majority of this 650 million people will actually never receive a post-secondary degree. It is estimated that a third of youth living with a severe disability is not in school, nor are they employed. There's a noticeable gap for these individuals in learning life skills, obtaining post-secondary degrees, and finding employment.
Big Spoon Little Spoon is the solution. We are a social enterprise that provides cooking classes, life skill workshops, and employment opportunities for people with disabilities and their siblings. We are looking to use our classes to help eliminate the stigma surrounding disability and help prove that just because somebody might be different does not make them any less capable. Our story began last year when we were teaching swimming lessons to a program where we were teaching them to children with Down syndrome and their siblings. We fell in love with the kids and the environment that they created. And after talking to parents, we noticed that there was a gap between the skills that they wanted their kids to learn and the ones that were actually being taught in traditional programming. And just like that, Big Spoon Little Spoon was born.
We teach life skills that are often overlooked by other programs. While we appreciate the importance of teaching skills such as sports and athletic programming, there's still a considerable gap for teaching life skills. We'd like to give you a quote from one of our participants' parents, and it goes like this. We were really impressed with the energy and organization and how gung-ho they were about everything. It's a no-brainer for us and a great program for the kids who have Down syndrome and those friends and family members that are part of the community. This is one of dozens we have showing how happy parents are with their kids participating in our programming.
So there are key main ways that we measure the impact of our program. The first is the confidence of our participants. At first, sometimes they're a little bit nervous depending on the case, but after a couple of classes, they start making new friends, they've gained a sense of accomplishment, they've got a smile on their face, and they're having a great time. In a survey that we sent out to parents, over 70% said they noticed their kids were coming out of their comfort zone and gaining confidence through our classes. The second way that we measure impact is through the returning number of parents and families coming back to do our programming. And the third way we measure impact is through the number of classes we have in order to meet this growing demand for our program. We're already offering 7 different classes in 3 different cities to accommodate the number of people interested in enrolling our programming.
So we've currently been running our classes at Queen's University for a year now, and this has amounted to us having over 60 kids split between 2 different classes on weekends. We actually achieved our waitlist capacity for our Kingston programming last year and have now had to hire over 70 volunteers and an executive team of 16 in Kingston alone. We are very excited to say that we are expanding to both the University of Toronto and McMaster University this coming fall. Both these chapters happen organically and will both be offering 2 classes a week. Both these programs are also at full waitlist capacity after just a week's worth of registration. In addition to these 2 programs, we've had students reach out to us from Western and UBC. They are both eager to bring Big Spoon Little Spoon to their campuses. Once we have accessed the Canadian market, we would like to expand our program to the over 5,000 schools in the US as well.
We have also been featured in all different types of media platforms as well, all showing their efforts in supporting our program and the traction that we've made. And if you're interested, you can also check out the press release from our presentation to the Minister of Finance from the Government of Canada yesterday as well.
So our business plan is to create 2 separate legal entities in Big Spoon Incorporated and the Little Spoon Charity, all falling under the umbrella that is Big Spoon Little Spoon. We have incorporated Big Spoon Inc., and we hope to achieve a B Corp status in the future, as well as we have applied for a registered charity number. The Little Spoon charity will continue to provide our weekly cooking classes and our life skills workshops, along with our newly developed workplace co-op program. Big Spoon Inc. will focus on driving revenue in support of the Little Spoon charity through our mobile and eventual permanent cafes, our cookbook, and our newly developed e-learning platform. Our revenue model therefore has 5 parts, being our class registration fees, our events, our mobile and eventual permanent cafes, our cookbook, and our e-learning platform.
So our vision is to create 4 different steps to make a graduation program. The first is basic cooking classes and life skill workshops to introduce Little Spoons into our programming. The second is more advanced classes to further their skills and their empowerment in the program. The third is mobile cafes, which are going to serve as co-op placements for high school students. And the fourth is permanent cafe locations all across North America so we can employ these individuals once they've graduated through our program.
So starting on the Little Spoon charity side, in a typical class, each Little Spoon is paired with a university student or Big Spoon, and together they learn valuable life skills such as how to cook, how to grocery shop, or how to take public transit, and other skills that will help them live a happy and healthy lifestyle. On our events side, our most successful fundraiser last year was our Blades of Glory outdoor hockey tournament. Here we had hundreds of Queen students come together and fundraise over $3,000 for Big Spoon Little Spoon as a program.
Moving over to our Big Spoon Incorporated side. So starting with our community cookbook, we've been hard at work this summer creating an outline for a template for our community cookbook, which is going to feature recipes and stories from people in our Big Spoon Little Spoon community. The second, we've also been working on our mobile carts, which are going to launch in Kingston, hopefully by fall. They are designed by the Queen Solar Design team, and we've also been working with the Limestone District School Board. So high school students involved in special education programming will be able to apply to be a co-op student at one of these locations. They're going to gain workplace experience, a certificate from the Queen's Equity Office and other members of our stakeholding team, and they're also going to get their high school co-op credit as part of the program. We've also been working with members of the Queen's Faculty of Education as well to develop our e-learning platforms and online curriculum so that we can scale this all around the world to people who maybe don't have this necessarily accessible in their local communities.
As for our team, this is Victoria Preston. She is founder and CEO of Big Spoon Little Spoon. I'm Delaney. I'm co-founder and COO of Big Spoon Little Spoon. This is Colton. He is chair of external affairs at our Queens chapter, as well as chief advancement officer. In addition, here is just some partners and supporters of Big Spoon Little Spoon.
So we have big plans for Big Spoon Little Spoon, and with your help, we can accelerate our program and use $30,000 to help launch our mobile cafes all around Canada, giving several high school students across the country the opportunity to take place in our co-op placements. We would also use this funding towards our e-learning platforms and curriculums with the Queen's Faculty of Education to help develop them even further and to make our new and existing Big Spoon Little Spoon chapters more sustainable. With minimum funding, we've already impacted thousands of lives, and with your help, we can impact hundreds of thousands more in Canada and millions more in the United States.
Simply put, we're students looking to empower other students in whatever way we can. We have a program, and we know for a fact it works. Thank you very much for listening to us today.
So you have a wonderful vision of how we can grow this nationally, starting with this program now and then eventually having, I believe, physical cafes where you can provide employment. What's your vision in terms of the revenue growth or the funding that you would need in order to reach that? So right now you're asking for 10,000. What do you see as your annual, I'm assuming as a nonprofit you'd be fundraising. So what's your annual ask?
So on our Big Spoon Incorporated side, we have built a cart, a pilot version, that has cost us around $350. There's a more eco-friendly, sustainable option that costs upward of $3,000. To get our cart running, we will need cafe supplies, we'll need appliances to put on our cart, and we'll need to pay for certain permits, like where to have it out on Queen's campus, public health to come by, our incorporation articles. In order to get started, we see ourselves needing around $13,000, $14,000. But for the upgraded cart, which has solar panels included and rainwater utilization, that's a $3,000 expense. So once we get this cart up and running and we see our demand like we expect it to be, we'll be able to grow that at a more accurate pace.
It also depends on the amount of carts and cafe locations that we would have. So we have $26,000 for like a tiny mobile cafe, but when we calculated the numbers for the cafe locations, if we were able to reach our goal to expand to the North American University districts, it's around $15.2 million in funding back to the program, which is our final goal. So surely but steadily, we hope to achieve that.
What caused you to take on this as an opportunity between the three of you? What was that catalyst that you said, wow, this is something we really want to jump on?
Yeah, so last year we were volunteering in a program called Bobbing Buddies, where we were teaching swimming lessons to children with Down syndrome and their siblings. And it's kind of hard to put into words. It's kind of one of those things I think you have to experience. Like, you can't really necessarily explain it, but the feeling you get being around the kids, they're so positive and so eager to meet new people, and seeing their faces light up when they achieve something maybe they didn't think that they could, or just how excited they are for next classes, just kind of sparks something in us. And yeah, I would really encourage all of you to come to one of our classes if you're interested. But I think, you know, after a couple classes from that, we were hooked, and it didn't really seem like there was any other option really besides to start it.
It has a lot to do with the difference you're making in these kids' lives. Last year we had to cancel a class because of severe weather conditions, and we had parents who, like, their kids were incredibly disappointed for one class that they had to miss for a week. They had to wait till next week. So at that point, I think it really clicked for us that, like, we're making a difference in these kids' lives, and it's not just something we think we're doing. We're actually having that sort of validation, which was sad at the time because we felt like we let them down, but it was like crazy outside. But it was good to know that we're actually making a difference here.
This is a fantastic vision. I really hope this works. What are your biggest risks that you're concerned about related to this succeeding, given that there is that fundraising component and charitable component?
Yeah.
What are the risks that are on your mind right now?
I think one of the biggest risks or things that we're worried about is actually growing too fast, because, like, as Colton mentioned in our pitch, so the two schools that we're expanding to in the fall reached out to us. Like, we haven't marketed to them, and they're already, after 1 week of registration, at waitlist capacity, and literally can't take any more kids. So it's, I guess, a risk to just kind of go too quickly. So we're trying to just make sure that the chapters that we have now are stable, they have funding, they have everything they need, just to protect our brand, and make sure that the kids are getting the proper resources that they need. But that's definitely something that we're keeping in mind and trying to look at as we're moving forward.
We're students, we're going into third year now. We want this program and this business to survive past our time here at Queen's. So we want to make sure we have the foundation, the structure set in each individual chapter that we start new, before we rush and expand everywhere at once, because we're trying to keep something that's sustainable here.
So how, you mentioned you now, beyond Queens, you have a couple of other locations that are interested. So what's the model? Like, are you covering your own costs, or are you going to have staff? Are these other centers going to contribute something to you, or do they fundraise only for themselves? So, you know, what's the vision for you as an organization?
So what we'd like to do is use some of this seed funding to give these different chapters a head start. We've had our U of T chapter set up a GoFundMe, for example. They raised like $2,500 from their GoFundMe, which was enough to cover one class, but they didn't think they would have the demand for two, so now they're kind of looking for new ways to fundraise to support two classes. Each individual chapter hires their own executive team and their own volunteers based on their need and their demand. So we send them everything of how we interview, the questions we use, the formatting we use, and everything to them. We have weekly Skype calls with each chapter just to check up on where they are, and make sure that they're following a process that we can take from our school that we know worked here and implant into the new schools. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now I'd like to welcome team number 10 to the stage for their presentation. Please welcome NetZero to the stage.
afternoon. I'm Jenny Bunning, and this is Nora Lobb, and we are NetZero. Today we're asking you for $30,000. And the next 7 minutes, Nora and I are going to demonstrate how we can double this investment and reach $1 million in net revenue within 5 years. But first, I want to talk about an issue that's affecting our day-to-day lives and our economy. We've all heard the numbers. We know that we have 12 years to significantly reduce our CO2 if we want to avoid the devastating impacts of climate change. And if fire, famine, and flood weren't reason enough, reducing your CO2 has the potential to make you a lot of money. The world is shifting as consumer demand meets government regulation. Currently, the global market for green economy goods and services is $7 trillion. And in 2019, 57 jurisdictions implemented carbon pricing regulations across the globe, including Canada. Currently, the average Ontario household will spend $244 a year on carbon, and the average office will spend about $36,000. This global shift requires innovative and sustainable solutions, solutions like NetZero. At NetZero, we want to be a catalyst for change. We want to make sustainability easy, accurate, and cost-effective. We're building an app that will educate, incentivize, and reward users for reducing their CO2. Our app will power our workplace sustainability program, which will allow businesses to track their carbon reduction and cost savings, all while engaging their employees. So let's take a look at what this might look like. This is Graham. He wants to be sustainable, but he finds it costly and time-consuming. So he signs up for the NetZero app for free. It helps him set goals based on his current lifestyle and gives him tips to make things easier. He starts to take on challenges, reduce his CO2, and earn points. And he's surprised at how easy it is with the app's automated features. He redeems his points with local businesses, making his new lifestyle all the more affordable. He gets his family and friends on board, and within a year, Graham has reduced 11 tons of CO2, saved $1,600, and collected 20,000 points. But the story doesn't end there. Graham takes NetZero to work. He tells his boss, and they decide to become gold members. For a staff of 20, it's $6,000 a year. They get workshops, set company-wide goals, and create teams. They use the NetZero dashboard to track their emissions reductions and understand their cost savings. After 1 year, the office has received a NetZero workplace certification. They've reduced 12 tons of CO2, their staff retention is up, and they've saved $15,000. That's an ROI of 151%.
Now, let's take a look at a real-life example. THA Architecture is a firm based in Portland, Oregon. They engaged with one of our US competitors to help them engage with their employees and reduce CO2 emissions in 6 different categories. Now, in just 1 year, they reduced 23 tons of CO2. That's the emissions equivalent of 16 road trips across Canada. They also saved approximately $30,000, all while growing their team. Now, the competitor that they engaged with didn't use an app. They recorded everything manually. Imagine if they had a tool just like NetZero, where they can incentivize employees' behavioral change, accurately track emissions reductions, all with minimal input. Now, here at NetZero, we want to make sure that every business in Kingston, Canada, and beyond has the ability to have these same cost and CO2 savings results. Now, to do this, we've developed a 3-phase go-to-market strategy. We've already begun discussions with potential clients here in Kingston and have 2 large employers interested in becoming some of our first clients. This will give us a pilot revenue of $40,000 and access to over 2,000 employees. From here, we can start building out a rewards program. We've also begun discussions with Sustainable Kingston, who's interested in offering a NetZero certification through their existing badge program. Now, Sustainable Kingston is also part of a network of green economy hubs. If we could work with this network, we'd be able to span across Ontario and pop up in 6 new cities. We've also had discussions with other sustainable organizations who are interested in using our technology to better engage with their clients. For example, EcoSchools Canada wants to have a program just like NetZero in each one of their 1,900 schools across the province. Now, based on these conversations we've had this summer with potential clients, we've been able to divide our market into 3 distinct segments and design 3 different packages to best meet their needs. Our base package is priced at $1 per employee per month. Through this, employers will have access to our carbon management software where they can see their carbon and cost reduction data. Our gold package includes everything in the base package as well as curated challenges, customized sustainability workshops, and sustainability auditing and consulting. This is priced at $500 per month. Our Platinum package is geared towards other sustainable organizations that want to use NetZero technology with their branding to better engage with their clients. Now, based on our costing model and go-to-market strategy, we've been able to put together 5-year financial projections. Now, as with any technology-driven and SaaS business, we're going to have to balance our expenses in the first year or so as we develop and build out our technology. But after that, we can predict very stable monthly reoccurring revenue through our annual subscription model, keeping our CAC to LCV ratio low.
So our potential for growth far exceeds this 5-year window. In the US corporate sector alone, there's $190 billion from potential savings in carbon reduction, and a third of that comes from simple management and behavioral change. So subsequently, there's an increasing demand for carbon management software like NetZero to quantify and understand CO2 emissions. The carbon management market is projected to reach over $17 billion by 2023. We believe that we can capitalize on this market, setting the foundations for accurate and secure carbon banking. We're also interested in blockchain technology for carbon transactions and trading. We're asking you for $30,000 today. Nora and I have already been approved for My Tax Accelerator funding, which means your $30,000 turns into $60,000. We've built the front end of our app, and with your help, we can hire a software developer, lifecycle costing, and the back end of our app. Nora and I are entrepreneurs with a passion for policy. At every step of the way, NetZero has been designed with stakeholder engagement and research. We've talked to a wide variety of experts from data privacy to behavioral economics. We've spoken with numerous customers and have several letters of interest. NetZero has the potential to create big change. So join us in becoming NetZero. Questions?
So the first question I have is, great presentation. I like the visuals as well. I think it tells the story well. Why are you going after 3 different market segments? If I look at your capital, which is going to be very little, that would tell me that you're spread all over the place and you're really not targeting one specific one. So why play such a broad game when you look at that? Why not narrow or zoom in on one particular market segment?
Well, we wanted to start here in Kingston, and we have a lot of small to medium-sized businesses there. So we wanted to make sure that this was affordable for everyone in our starting market. But when we started having more conversations with other sustainable organizations, as well as larger clients, we realized that there's a lot of cost reductions that they can experience. So we did want to make sure that our software was available across as many platforms as possible.
And those 3 market segments, that's spread over 5 years. So when we initially start, we're starting with local here in Kingston, pilot project, then we're spreading out to small and medium businesses, and then as we scale up into year 4 and 5, that's when we start to partner with sustainable organizations, and that's when we can, and our platinum members, and that's when we can really start to experience substantial growth.
So great pitch. Maybe I missed it, but is there a direct-to-consumer component as well?
The users of the app, you mean?
Yes. Do you want to speak to that?
So do you mean monetizing from our direct consumers?
Right. So let's say I don't work for a company and I still want to be part of this app. How does that work in terms of
So
your
we
strategy?
want the app to always be free. So we're not going to be charging for the app. And once we start to, the reason that we wanted to go through a workplace sustainability program is that we found it would be a really great way to bring a lot of users on board really, really quickly. Because when we were designing the idea of a reward system, we came into the problem, it's the chicken and the egg. Reward providers aren't going to sign up without users, and users aren't going to sign up without quality rewards. So in this way, we were able to build a big user base. And once we start to launch into that year 3, year 5, and we've started to bring on a lot of different monthly users, then we can start to diversify our revenue streams. Although Nora and I are we feel pretty strongly about like selling data of the people that we're providing. So we're never going to sell individual data, but selling data might also be another revenue stream that we could look into.
Who is the competition? Because it sounds like something that people might have already started doing, right?
We're very glad you asked.
So in terms of sustainability tracking apps, we have about 6 other competitors in this space. We're actually the only one that offers both incentives to change individual behavior, as well as accurate emissions and cost-saving data, as well as automated data collection so that the user doesn't have a huge barrier to entry. They're not having to log every single time they turn off the tap while they brush their teeth. We're focusing on the big emissions activities, such as like transportation, so driving your car versus taking the bus or walking, or your electricity usage, water usage, et cetera. In terms of in terms of workplace sustainability options, the other ones that are available out there, such as retrofitting, other sustainable auditing, LEED is one that comes to mind for most people. We're the only one that has a relatively low cost, and we're also the only ones that focuses on behavior-related changes that can reduce emissions, other than retrofitting.
And I'll also add that there's a lot of sustainability consultants out there, and while they could be seen as competitors, we actually see them as potential partners because they could use our app to work with as a tool for their clients to meet the sustainability audit that they've provided.
So just going back to one of the previous themes I had. So you have a gamification side that you're trying to talk about here. You talked a little bit about, well, maybe we'll have something within the community where you can spend points. But again, coming back to your market, would it make more sense, or when you think about it, why wouldn't you go after larger organizations that may fund those points in a way that allows for the gamification? I'm trying to understand how you're going to move that forward, because you're talking about very different businesses here. There's a rewards incentive side, there's the certification side. What's your focus? What's your order that you're stepping through in the first 2 years of this 5-year plan?
Yeah, so we think that we have a lot of potential to really scale globally using a SaaS business model. So as Nora mentioned, we're going to start in Kingston we've got about a market size of 164 businesses. In year 2, we can start to leverage the green economy hubs moving into 6 different cities. In year 4 and 5, that's when we really start to see our monthly reoccurring revenue start to build as we start to partner with eco schools. A good example, I know that big organizations might seem like an obvious example, but eco schools, they have 1,900 schools in Ontario alone. So if we could just tap 10% of that market, and let's say the average school is 750 students, that's over $1.7 million of annual reoccurring revenue. So that's the way that we're trying to go.
So what's your customer acquisition strategy? How are you going to get these customers? Have you tested different models?
You want to talk about the pilot?
Yeah, so the pilot or the social media marketing campaign. So we're hoping to attract users through kind of a social media campaign, but in terms of businesses who are our actual paying clients, we're interested in using a referral program so that when one business refers a partner that they can receive a bonus. Thanks. Awesome. Thank you so much.
You want to leave the path?
So just a little housekeeping. For those of you that would have voted for the Wisdom of the Market Award prior to the intermission, there seems to have been a bit of a hang-up in the system, unfortunately. So we'd ask you to feel free to re-vote again to 226-909-3121 if you did cast your vote prior to the intermission. Keep in mind, there's only one vote per device. So if you voted before the intermission, you've automatically excluded everyone else after the intermission. So you might want to wait until the end you've seen them all and then cast your vote. That being said, I'd like to welcome onto the stage Group 11, New Foods, for their pitch, please.
26%. That's the percentage of global emissions that come from the agriculture and farming industry. Although this is a concerning number, the way we think about and source our food is changing. For example, 1/3 of Canadians are actively trying to reduce their animal product consumption, and more companies are emerging to fill the demand of these new consumers. However, not enough is being done, and in just Canada alone, 12 million individuals are faced with a similar challenge, a challenge New Foods is here to overcome. That current food options don't sustainably meet the nutrient and taste requirements of the growing global population.
This is a big problem, and big problems require micro-solutions. In our research on sustainable food options, we came across algae and were immediately hooked. How could a microscopic organism have any hopes of meeting our sustainability needs for the future? This is because algae requires no arable land to grow and allows for 95% of the water used to be recycled. To top it off, it is a complete protein and has greater nutrient offerings than other traditional food sources. From this, New Foods was born. Hi, I'm Alessandra and I'm a co-founder of New Foods. We combine algae with whole meal alternatives that make it easy for consumers to eat sustainably.
We began 8 weeks ago with the goal of making great tasting food sustainable and nutritious. We tested a variety of food types. We combined algae with cookies, tortilla chips, noodles, and so much more. We tested these recipes on individuals at farmers markets, and we further tested consumer assumptions online. What we found is that people were looking for a product that would fill them up, provide the necessary nutrients required for a balanced meal, and did not lack in taste. The product that met these criteria, and the one that people ultimately enjoyed the most, were noodles. We further learned that people were interested in experimenting with algae on their own. After our first market experience, we received an email from the market director that our products had created an uproar, and that people were asking about when and where they would become available. However, we also realized that we do not have the necessary skills to prototype these products further, thus have since begun working with a former professional chef who has volunteered her time to help make our products ready for further validation.
Over the past 8 weeks, one thing has become apparent. No North American company is currently innovating in the algae whole meal space. This creates the unique opportunity for New Foods to become a first mover. And we've already begun to exploit this gap in the market by establishing ourselves as the algae product specialists. Our competitor in the whole meal space are other alternative pastas and functional foods. However, New Foods stands out because our ingredients are produced sustainably and we are focusing on just creating algae products. We received enough success with our noodle prototypes to consider working with a food scientist. In our talks with the Guelph Food Innovation Center, we learned that it would be very capital intensive to take our noodle prototypes through their prototyping stages and to become shelf-ready products. With this capital-intensive future looming, we realized that we cannot just rely on pitch competitions and grants to fund our costs. What we needed was a product that would enable us to gain some capital while also developing the New Foods brand and educating consumers on the benefits of consuming algae. Therefore, we chose to start selling powder as our MVP.
Despite our imagination, we can't think of all the possible ways people can consume algae powder. So, we developed a grassroots marketing campaign. We received 21 responses from individuals interested in becoming New Foods product testers. This allowed us to learn from our consumers and co-create a solution that best fit their needs. This further created buzz in the market and allowed us to begin receiving sales both online and offline. Throughout this process, we have paid keen attention to the types of individuals purchasing, talking about, and trying algae. This has allowed us to segment our market into 3 different groups. The vegans and vegetarians, who are looking for better ways to get the complete proteins they need. The health-focused baby boomers, who are looking for easier ways to get the nutrients they also need. And the flexitarians, who are looking for products that allow them to decrease their animal product consumption without substituting nutrition or taste. Let's take a look at one of our segments, the flexitarians. Brooke is a 25-year-old female looking to reduce her animal product consumption. She, like 19% of North Americans, is iron deficient. Brooke talked to us about her desire to adopt a more sustainable diet, but is nervous few plant-based sources will give her the nutrients she needs to live a healthy life. New Foods, though, gives Brooke the freedom to seamlessly integrate a sustainable diet into her life.
Uber Eats took note of the recent success of our powder launch and reached out to us. We have since established a partnership and will begin starting a virtual kitchen in Kingston. This will allow us to rapidly validate the whole meal prototypes we are constantly refining. We have also established a relationship with the Grocery Basket, a local niche grocer, and we will begin stocking our powder on their shelves. We require $75,000 to get our wholemeal prototypes onto shelves. With the $30,000 prize, we will be able to take our products through the initial phases of prototyping, which will get us towards a shelf-ready product. And we are the team to make this happen. We are 4 Queen's University graduates with diverse experiences and backgrounds, and we are standing here today because of our shared passion for food and sustainability. We also have 2 experienced advisors on our team. The first is Esther Jang, co-founder of the cricket protein food company Grillies, and the second is Ruthie Cummings, a former chef.
Let's address the elephant in the room. Will people be interested in eating something akin to pond scum? Well, they already have. Our market research indicates that an increasing number of individuals are adding algae into their weekly diets. In addition, food perceptions can change and people can be educated to embrace new foods. Take the mass adoption of lobster, which was previously seen as little more than animal feed. Today, lobster is one of the most consumed delicacies globally. We're not saying algae will become the next global delicacy, but it can become an item on the grocery list of the mainstream consumer. With the growing demand towards sustainable food options, people are more likely than ever to be consuming foods like algae. This makes the market ripe for both growth and innovation. And we are confident at New Foods that we can exploit the gap in the algae whole meal space. We are New Foods, and we are here to make algae mainstream. Also, just a word of warning, I do have a hearing disability, so I may look to my co-founders to repeat questions.
Great pitch. Quick question to start off. How are you sourcing your algae? And what are you doing to ensure that it meets all of the specifications in terms of heavy metals and microsystems and things like this that are known concerns? And do you have multiple suppliers? How is this working? And moving forward, what's the plan? Are you thinking of making your own? Or will this always be a substrate that you obtain just via purchase?
We are currently buying our algae from a distributor in Etobicoke, but we have obtained an import license which allows us to buy from a distributor in Florida at a much lower cost. Both the suppliers and all the suppliers we're looking into have heavy metals testing and are certified to sell in North America. And in the future, we are hoping to form partnerships with other companies that are sourcing, or in the future we're hoping to invest in algae farms and making our own algae, but that is in the longer run. Right now we're hoping to get it from the distributors.
So what's the pricing model? And starting off with this powder stuff, eventually you're getting into noodles, I'm assuming, and then where do you go from there?
We are selling those powders for $12, and the cost is $5.35. Yep, that is 50 grams of spirulina, and that could take you for longer than you would think because you put a couple teaspoons in your meals. And we're selling that for $12, and our cost is $5.35 with shipping, which is a profit of $6.65. We're hoping to slash down our cost as we change our suppliers to the one in Florida who are supplying for a much lower cost. And for our noodles, we do not have specific values since we're very early stages in prototyping.
And sorry, the second part of that question is where are we going beyond the noodles? So based on consumer perceptions and based on our market research, we have learned that there are a plethora of different options for algae. For example, we've learned that parents would love to sneak nutrients into kids' snack foods. However, this is further down the line. For us right now, our whole goal is to educate the market on the benefits of eating algae before we go beyond the noodles and before we go into further snack foods, further whole meal products, etc.
What's your scale-up strategy for the noodles themselves?
The scale-up strategy?
Right, is this something where, how big could this get in terms of the manufacturing?
So right now, we are just looking at niche grocers. Once we develop a full-on prototype at food innovation centers with food scientists, the goal is to do 2 things. 1, target B2B distributors, whether that be places like the Copper Branch or places like Good Food, We're actually in talks right now with food delivery services, just very early stage. Beyond that, the goal is to get to the mass market through grocery stores such as Loblaws, Metra, Safeway, Sobeys, etc.
And the notion is to sell it in this form, where it'd be purchased by a consumer like this, or into food processors who would use it as an ingredient?
We'd be putting the algae powder into our products. So that's just like our MVP right now, so that we can, like we said, educate consumers on consuming algae. But further down the line, we're putting the algae spirulina powder into noodles. Furthermore, we're speaking with this company called Spira, and they're producing a algae protein isolate that's yet to hit the market, and we'd also like to include that in future products.
I really like the approach that you've taken a lot of testing and looked at what you've received. I'm wondering how the noodle compares in terms of nutrition, or what is the advantage over other alternative pastas?
So from a nutritional standpoint, it's much better. Algae is 60 to 70% protein and includes a bunch of other nutrients, including B12, B6, vitamin K, and more, including also iron. From the but how it compares to like other pastas, quinoa pasta, black bean pasta, it comes from sustainability. So algae does not require any arable land to grow, and it also requires significantly less water than soy, beans, etc. So we'd be targeting people based on the nutrient content and the sustainability.
So this is a great slide, actually, in terms of your life cycle analysis and looking at animal sources. How does this stack up against other vegetarian sources in terms of the nutritional value? So let's say tofu and carrots, for example, or something else that might be a bit cheaper to the end consumer.
In terms of nutrition, spirulina is much richer in protein and has the highest density of protein compared to the other sources like soy or tofu. But where we really stand out is in terms of cost and in terms of the sustainability aspect, since they take a significant amounts of land. However, spirulina can be grown on non-arable land.
So do you have an idea of the percentages or differences between the life cycle analysis on these other sources versus yours?
Spirulina has 70% protein, whereas soy has approximately 40 to 50% protein. The answer to your question in terms of the noodles would depend on what kind of flour we would use. Right now, we're working with semolina flour, but we hope to use black bean or soy flour, which would give us an edge over the alternative pastas and the alternative products, which would make our noodles much more nutritious.
And in terms of the life cycle, algae can be harvested every 8 hours, which is roughly works up to 3 times a day. So, like for example, in the New Mexico desert, they just have these huge tracts, and they are able to harvest it really quickly. Whereas, obviously, growing some kind of crop like soy, corn, etc., would take a lot longer, like a full season, so that it can be produced much more quickly and at a larger quantity.
Thank you very much. Okay, for our next presentation, I'd like to welcome team number 12 to the stage for their presentation. Please welcome Backer.
Good evening, judges and audience, and thanks so much for being here today. My name is Emily, and I'm joined here with my extraordinary team of co-founders to show you how Backer is already benefiting our users every day. Backer is an online tool that helps entrepreneurs efficiently manage their online audience, and it's addressing a $3 billion problem. Now, I want to introduce you to 3 entrepreneurs who create content online as their full-time job. First, we have Brian. He owns his own YouTube channel where he posts videos online to inspire the LGBT+ community. Next, we have Ellen. She owns The Gist, and she writes daily sports newsletters to create a more inclusive community for women around sports. And finally, there's Andrew. He runs a YouTube channel where he educates his community on cars. Now, for these entrepreneurs, creating a community is so important because their fans are their customers. So in the same way where people are huge fans of their favorite sports teams, it's not just because they like watching that sport, but it's because they feel they are a part of that team's culture and community. These entrepreneurs need to do more than just create great content. They need to build a strong sense of community to be successful. But to create this strong community requires a lot of time engaging directly with their fans. When we talk to Brian, he spends 2 hours every day engaging online. And this is true for all businesses. In fact, achieving better engagement is the top question marketers want answered today. So businesses are spending billions of dollars and employing full-time teams just to engage online. So the problem for entrepreneurs like Andrew, Brian, and Ellen is that they're spending tons of time engaging online, but they don't know how to use this time efficiently to target the right fans. So we're Backer, and we're excited to be solving this solution.
So Backer helps online entrepreneurs manage their fan base efficiently and effectively. Our tool tracks fan engagements across platforms, identifies the most important opportunities for direct engagement, and creates lasting loyalty with top fans who matter most. So let's take a look at how someone like Brian would use Backer. So the dashboard displays a list of his top fans who follow him on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. So they can also purchase his merchandise on his online store. Backer tracks every comment, every like, and every purchase, and these actions make a fan more valuable, thus moving them higher on the top fan list. So on a typical day, Brian wakes up to hundreds of new comments, and he simply can't keep up. But with this list, he can prioritize and target the fans who matter most. So let's take a look at one of his top fans, Lindsay. On her dashboard, he can directly reply to all of her comments on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. And because Backer integrates seamlessly, his reply posts directly to these platforms. He also has access to her comment history as well as her purchase history. So not only is he saving time by replying all in one inbox, he is now able to have more meaningful connections with longtime supporters like Lindsay. So we've heard the problems faced by dozens and dozens of online entrepreneurs just like Brian, so we've built a working MVP and put it in their hands. Today, there are 5 online businesses actively using our product and are already seeing direct results. So here's how Backer is making an impact for our users. For Brian, it makes it easy for him to identify his top fans and reply to them directly. And Ellen at The Gist has already expressed interest in paying for something like this today. But this is just the beginning. Our team is excited as we have a growing waitlist of those who are interested in using our product. And here are just a few of the online entrepreneurs who support and believe in Backer, and we are excited to get it into their hands as soon as possible.
So let's take a look at some of the competition. Because social media management is such a big problem for businesses, there exist many customer relationship management tools. But the last 3 years have seen a meteoric rise in online entrepreneurs who have built their businesses through social media. And they have unique needs which tools designed for large businesses simply cannot address. And this has created an opportunity worth $3 billion annually in which we are addressing. The entrepreneurs who we've spoken with are not using existing tools because nothing exists on the market today that can fully address their needs. Backer is unique. It is the only tool to offer top fan identification and prioritization, the only tool to integrate with YouTube and e-commerce platforms, and the only tool to offer an all-in-one engagement inbox, providing our customers with ease, simplicity, and efficiency. So why will our customers continue to support Backer? It's because of our stickiness. Backer will become part of their daily activities, and they will rely on it. Backer will become the essential link for all their communications, And as they continue to benefit from the service, they will have access to new insights based on unique data that would not be available on a new platform. We plan on making money by charging a monthly subscription fee. Plus, we'll be offering a free trial period in order to help us onboard new customers. If we can acquire just 10,000 customers, we would be earning $3.5 million, $3 million in annual reoccurring revenue. So how do we win? We understand the core value of social media because nowhere is that value more apparent than with the businesses who we work with. Personal engagement is everything. It's the reason we buy, the reason we support, and the reason we tell our friends to support with us. When something about a brand has resonated with me personally, I become a believer. Our commitment is to personal engagement, and our focus is on empowering our partners to unlock the value personal engagement will have for their business. So why is this company going to be successful? It's because we have the team to make it happen. Together with my co-founders, Devash, Emily, Pascal, and Mickey, we have the sales, communication, and marketing talent to reach our customers, as is evident by the fact that we already have 12 customers interested in our product. But we also have the depth of technical expertise to build our product and launch it ourselves. And the proof of that is our working MVP in the hands of users today. We're proud of what we accomplished in just 3 months, and we're excited about what we'll do next. With your help, we can launch our full product sooner. With $50,000 in funding, we would be able to accelerate our development costs and reach our customers sooner. This industry moves fast, and we are staying ahead of it. We are ready to become the new leader in online engagement. With your help, we can kickstart our goals. We are Backer, and we invite you to join us.
I'll start it off. I have a little background on the social side. So the question I have is, it sounds like you're really an influencer management platform at the end of the day. You're taking an influencer in a B2C market, taking all their followers and basically helping them understand what's happening with their followers. Does that basically summarize the core of what you do?
Yeah, I can answer that for you. So absolutely. We're not focusing so much more on the marketing or analytics aspect, although we will provide certain analytics based on the prioritization and identification of the top fans. But our focus is to allow them to more effectively and efficiently manage their interactions with their fan base, thus saving them time so they can focus on creating content and other aspects of their business.
Okay, so, but you see them as influencers then that are getting paid by another party, and they're basically managing their community, which gives them the power of influence on behalf of other products.
Right, right.
So, second question, I'll pass it off. What happens with what we're seeing with Instagram and others today when you start getting cut off the analytics or likes are no longer being tracked and you can't get that data? What happens to your platform?
For sure, yeah, I can answer that. So basically, there are several multi-million-dollar companies already out there that rely solely on these APIs, these connections to the ability to grab the analytics. And so that instills confidence in us that these will stay available. And even so, in the event that we lose access to the ability to grab this information, we as a company we want to build tools for businesses, for content creators, and for these people. And so we will adapt and build another tool.
Okay, just remember what happened to Facebook about 7 months ago where they got obliterated and they took everybody off their APIs. So.
Great presentation, guys. I think from the consumer side that there's such a hunger for the digital simulacra of human interaction to be more meaningful that any way that you can progress that is going to have, I think, a positive response from the consumer side, but that's not your customer necessarily. Also, if I understood correctly, the people who would want to use your product are those who have so many followers that they're having logistical, operational difficulties having relationships with them. Is there a place for the businesses that want to use your product to grow the number of people with whom they have relationships and not just deepen their relationships with those with whom they already have relationships?
Yeah, so essentially, we want to focus on maintaining the relationships that you currently have, but our plan is to incentivize the fan and the audience base to come consume the content of the creator. So we have other tools in the pipeline that we're looking to implement that will incentivize them. An example would be a payment side where we can incorporate the fan and consumer aspect. But we wanted to make sure that we can focus on kind of one pain point for the content creator first, and then expand our suite of tools.
So, a couple of questions. One is, you mentioned overall market was $3 billion for online, the online audience. But for these particular types of entrepreneurs, what's the size and like numbers of them? Are we talking of hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands? And the second part of the question is, are you leaving money on the table? Like, are these, when you look at the top 10 fans for any one of these entrepreneurs, have you all in the 5 or 6 pilots that you've done, have you got any value in terms of what the transactional costs are? Like, are those top fans buying $100, $200 per month or a year? And, you're charging them 25 bucks, right? So have you looked at that kind of cost metric?
Yeah, absolutely. So looking at the market sizing as you're talking about, the reality is that there's a very large number of large creators. And in fact, according to YouTube's own metrics, the number of channels with over 1 million subscribers is growing 75% year over year. So we see that this market is actually just continually growing. And then to your second point about the fact that there's a lot of value in the top fans, you're absolutely correct. And that's part of the reason why, as Devo was alluding to, right now we're focused on the specific pain point of being able to manage your audience and your engagements. However, down the road, we absolutely are looking into how we can help the creators and the entrepreneurs to collect sort of like the payments from their fans in the forms of, say, purchases or merchandise. And then if we were to go, once we implement those new features, then taking a percentage of the value that we create is absolutely an option.
How much work do the creators need to do to onboard your tool? Is this fairly seamless, or how does this work in terms of the integration?
Yes, absolutely. So I can answer that. Currently, we've made it very seamless, so they don't need to necessarily change any of their habits. Typically, they would reply on Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube, and now this is only going to save them time, so that now they can just use our all-in-one inbox, and nothing really changes in terms of their workflow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So as we approach the end, we have 2 more teams to present. I'd just like to remind everybody that at the end of the last presentation, around 7 o'clock, there will be a reception. While we send the judges away to do their work, the rest of us will enjoy some appetizers and beverages. Sorry. So please hang around and join us for that. At 7 o'clock, we'll have hors d'oeuvres and refreshments being served at the end. And the announcement will come at 7:30 on stage for the winners. Just a reminder again, for those of you that want to do the Wisdom of the Market Award, please text your corresponding number of your favorite pitch to 226-909-3121. So, lucky number 13, I'd like to invite Lifted to the stage for their presentation, please.
Good evening. My name is Umpai, and this is Haley, Emma, Aaron, and David, and we are the co-founders of Lifted.
Today we're here to talk about bras. Now, bras can be an uncomfortable subject for some, but more importantly, they're uncomfortable for a lot of women to wear.
While the bra is something all women struggle with, it impacts some on a whole different level. As a respite worker, I work with Sierra, an adult with cerebral palsy. She is almost completely independent when dressing, but the one thing she cannot put on without help is her bra.
Lifted is here to change that. Lifted is a collection of bras designed with style, ease, and you in mind. Lifted designs to empower every body, regardless of shape, size, skin tone, and ability. At Lifted, we make bras easy.
Sierra is not alone. In fact, Sierra is an extreme user because she has no other options. We've talked to hundreds of women and found that 9 in 10 have issues with their bras right now. Bras are uncomfortable, hard to put on, hard to take off, and so much more. These are issues that 15.5 million Canadian women face every single day. Our research has shown us that whether it's an inconvenience, an injury, or even a mobility restriction, bras are hard and innovation is needed.
Women with mobility restrictions have been excluded and stigmatized from this industry for too long. We have designed with them in mind. However, our research has shown us that it's not just women with mobility restrictions that struggle with their bras. An easier option is something every woman needs. In our team, we like to refer to our solution as an elevator. You see, an elevator is a device that is easy for everyone to use, and more importantly, it's inclusive for all without stigma, unlike a ramp, which is typically labeled as a tool for the disabled. Our bra, like an elevator, is easier for everyone and inclusive for all. Whether you attempt to put on your bra by blindly clasping it behind your back, or whether you attempt to swivel it around your body, or even if you can't get it on in general, the tiny hook and eye clasp on the traditional bra is ridiculous. Women need another option, so we reimagined the bra. We've designed an innovative front closure that enables a woman to put on her bra with minimal pulling force and practically no effort. Additionally, we've put comfort at the forefront of our design because, frankly, women deserve it. We have designed using a 4-way stretch fabric and have created straps that allow a woman to choose where they lay on her shoulders to maximize her comfort. To bring these features to our customers, we will be pricing competitively at around $50 to $80.
The Lifted bra has 3 distinct competitors: traditional bras sold in store, accessible bras, and bras sold online. Victoria's Secret has cornered 63% of the in-store bra market, but this number is dropping because their brand is based on what men want to see women wear. While the sex appeal is sometimes a want to have, the discomfort that comes with it is not. Accessible bras do exist, but they look accessible. Just taking a second and take it in, for 1 in 6 women, that is their only option. Finally, Third Love has disrupted the bra market with an e-commerce platform and are moving towards inclusivity. But the current definition of inclusive does not include everyone. We're lifting that bar.
Our global market segment is $6.6 billion. Yes, it's this big. Our market is threefold: women over the age of 35, over 60, and those with mobility restrictions. These markets are all unique, leading us to create unique solutions to capture them. To capture our largest market, the women over 35, we will be launching using an e-commerce platform, another proven and growing trend in the bra market. After this, we will set up strategic pop-ups and partnerships with department stores and local boutiques, putting our bras exactly where our customers currently shop. At the core, Lifted is designed to be easy, and this opens our market to include women with mobility restrictions. While partnerships in e-commerce will likely capture these women, we've also partnered with occupational and physiotherapists who have validated that if our bras are the best, they will recommend and endorse the Lifted bra. Now, did you know a woman is supposed to replace her bra every 6 to 12 months? This is a huge financial burden and time commitment. To help solve this, we introduced the brascription. Our model makes rebuying totally automated and enables a woman to replace her bra every 6 to 12 months at a discounted price. Ultimately, we aim to put our customers first while securing recurrent revenue. To make this all possible, we have signed a contract with Nice's Brand Group, a design, branding, and manufacturing firm located in New York City. We've designed and prototyped an innovative clasp in-house and are looking to patent it before proceeding to research and development. We've launched our website and social media, And with this, we are not only building a brand, we are building a movement towards inclusivity. The bra is ready for innovation. The market is ready for lifted.
Our team is comprised of 5 unique individuals that are brought together because of their passion for inclusivity. Umpai leads team marketing and the design of our bra. David leads the team in all things finance. Aaron leads the design of our clasp and customer research. Emma leads team operations and communications. And I lead team strategy and logistics. To complement our team, our advisory board is comprised of Emily Harmson, an accessible clothing expert, Dinah Hampson, a mobility restrictions expert, Angela Lyon, a patent agent who is certified in Canada and the United States, and Antonella Vergati, a brand and strategy expert with experience at Gucci.
After speaking with hundreds of potential customers, we now know that the lifted bra is not just a want to have, it's a need to have. Therefore, we need $44,000 to help get lifted to the next stage. From this, we would use $14,000 to finish testing and developing our first design, $7,000 to complete our utility patent application and secure an essential trademark, $12,000 for marketing and branding, and $11,000 for cost of goods, which will generate $21,000 in revenue by August 2020. Any funding awarded today would go towards user validation, brand protectability, and acquiring our first customers. Ultimately, funding will help us achieve our primary goal, to make bras easier and more equitable for all.
For most women, discomfort with their bras is an expectation. For almost as many, size, shape, skin tone, or ability has led to exclusion from the fashion industry. So I ask you, if you woke up tomorrow and you could not put on the clothes you are currently wearing because of a factor you could not control, would you accept this without question? Or would you wonder why the world wasn't designed to include you? We are lifted, and we are reimagining the lingerie industry to include every body. Thank you, and we welcome your questions. Be confident, lead us off.
I mean, I'm just processing a totally new perspective on that garment. Thank you. The story behind your product is very compelling. Yeah, I'm with you. I want to know more about your core IP. What are you making?
Okay, so thank you very much for your question. So unfortunately, we are looking to patent both the design and function of our clasp, so we can't give any details for that. But since we are partnering and communicating with our advisor, Angela Lyon, right now, she is helping us looking into patenting in the future. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah. In addition to that, we're also looking at securing a trademark for brascription, so the name of our model. And we're also trademarking the word lifted within the fashion industry, as it's not already trademarked there.
I'm interested in your product development cycle. So between now and August 2020, how many iterations do you hope to do? What are you focused on?
Awesome, yeah. So we plan to first patent the clasp and we have a fully working prototype, so we actually have already been in the field getting customer validation on that. Our next steps are looking to partner with a design team, or specifically one designer, to help design it so it's not only functional, which it is right now, but it looks good enough to be in between your breasts, basically. And then going with that, we'll iterate on that. We are scheduled to have the first design of our bra within the next 4 weeks, and by December, we hope to have it fully finalized, and that would help our product development to sort of have a final iteration with validation with our customers and the physiotherapists, which would help us launch by June, hopefully, getting the revenue by August.
You had 3 markets, over 35, 60, and then disability. Can you describe to me the size of each of those markets and why you're going after all 3 simultaneously instead of choosing one of the 3 to really focus on?
Yeah, for sure. So we chose to go with e-commerce because we have these 3 markets. So we have the bra market worldwide, which we theoretically could address, but we segmented it into e-commerce and within that the adaptive clothing segment, because those are the clients we're really going to resonate with, and they'll have a really long lifetime and provide more value to us. With respect to the 35 plus, we chose that as our goal because when you reach that age, you start developing conditions that aren't like these very uncommon mobility restrictions. These are more so just flexibility limitations and things like this. So there will be a lot more need around that age.
So thanks very much. I was hoping to see a prototype, but I'll have to wait. So in terms of my own online experience, I am definitely in this market in a certain way in that I'm constantly being bombarded by different pitches from other companies saying, oh, we're revolutionizing this and it's going to be comfortable and so forth. So I love what I'm hearing, but I've heard it other places, of course, and this is not meant as a deterrent, but how are you going to get me to choose yours over the other 10 that I saw yesterday, for example? How are you going to really build early traction? Is there going to be some sort of incentivization? Maybe you can just comment on that.
Yeah, so a big part of our marketing has to do with representation of different body types, shapes, sizes, skin tones, and people with different abilities. In terms of the user who might not necessarily be initially drawn to our product because of a previously existing mobility restriction, we're hoping to capture those women by, similar to what you're saying, using some sort of incentive model. The brascription is kind of one of a kind as it stands right now, where we're able to help incentivize people to purchase a new bra every 6 to 12 months within the required or recommended time frame. But it's at a discounted price, so we're providing a longevity and a sticky customer.
In addition to that, with our launching plan, we do plan to do open casting calls, and what that means is we will actually source our models from real women. And with that, we do actually attempt to get our first customers and acquire those customers in that 35 plus range by saying, you know, would you model for us? Also, you're beautiful just the way you are. Here's a photo, here's a free bra, tell your friends, and to sort of show it. We want to put our money where our mouth is and really show customers that it's easy, it's comfortable, and we are the right choice.
Where do you plan on having these units manufactured?
Yeah, so right now they're being designed in New York. For manufacturing costs, we want to keep our cost of goods as low as possible so we can have an affordable price for our end users. So we do look overseas for our manufacturing. However, part of our brand ethos is obviously ethical manufacturing, so that's at the forefront.
Thank you.
And now, last but certainly not least, our last presentation for this afternoon. I'd like to welcome team number 14, Hero Hub, to the stage for their presentation.
Hi everyone, my name is Chip, and I'd like to share a story that not a lot of people know about me. 2 years ago, I suffered through a deep depression. I then discovered the mental health benefits of community service. This led me to seek out more charitable opportunities, but it was a difficult process. Luckily, I found a volunteer opportunity at the local Humane Society. But I went through a 4-month process with 40 other individuals, and in the end, only 2 of us were accepted. After this disappointing experience, I had my first aha moment. 6 months later, I was hired on as the marketing coordinator for a local charity, where I experienced my second aha moment. In my position, it was impossible to market the organization. We struggled to secure volunteers, sponsors, and furniture donations. This had a massive impact on our daily operations and the ability for us to make a difference. At this point, I knew something had to be done. We spoke with 50 charities and nonprofits and identified that they lacked the time, money, and staff capacity to market their organization and opportunities to the community. They also express frustration with websites and social media. In fact, 52% of charities and nonprofits in Canada do not have a digital strategy. And because of this, individuals are unable to find them. Our solution to this problem is Hero Hub. Hero Hub is an online platform that helps charities and nonprofits easily, conveniently, and affordably advertise their organization and opportunities. When organizations join our charitable ecosystem, they no longer have to worry about the hassle of marketing because we take it off their plate. Hero Hub does the heavy lifting by advertising and recruiting individuals to our platform. We do this by first having organizations create a profile page with key information. We have 5 innovative tools that help these individuals find organizations and opportunities. First, we do this by having organizations create a profile page with key information. Then they can post, edit, or delete their charity events, volunteer, and sponsorship opportunities. They can also add or remove the donations that they are accepting from a list of over 1,000 items. Ultimately, we benefit these organizations by providing easy access to vital resources. This helps them increase their revenue and decrease their cost, all while creating a greater social impact.
The majority of competitors are nonprofits who are slow to innovate, lack a sustainable business model, and fail to address the individuals who use their platforms as well. So what separates us? We provide an easy-to-use, all-in-one solution that benefits both organizations and individuals. And on top of this, we are addressing 2 massive gaps in the market: sponsorship and material donations. Our total addressable market is 1,677,000 charities and nonprofits across Canada and the United States. Our serviceable available market is 177,000 across Canada. And our serviceable obtainable market in our first year is 4,100 in the Kingston and Niagara regions. We will soon be launching our MVP to pilot in Kingston with over 100 organizations and 500 Queen students. After our pilot, we will onboard 50 organizations waiting in Niagara. We will then expand across Ontario, Canada, and the world. We plan on doing this by accessing individuals through quick and easy channels such as high schools, universities, and senior centers, and organizations through the local United Way, community foundations, and municipal governments. Hero Hub is a SaaS company. Our business model is subscription-based. For less than $1 a day, organizations can join our charitable ecosystem. They can pay $29 for a monthly subscription or $239 for an annual subscription, which is a 33% discount. And for individuals, Hero Hub is completely free. We don't think there should be a barrier to get involved in your community.
In year 1, we are projecting an average of 180 organizations and $70,000 in revenue. In year 2, 1,000 organizations and $200,000 in revenue. And in year 3, 5,400 organizations and $1.3 million in revenue. By year 3, we will begin to secure our foothold in Toronto by surrounding the over 20,000 charities and nonprofits in the area. Our team consists of 3 recent graduates who will continue to work on Hero Hub as their full-time career. Our commitment goes beyond working 70 to 80 hours a week, as we have put $13,000 of our summer paychecks back into the company. We are a passionate team that can and will execute this. Chip is a political science graduate and has recently completed the Masters of Management, Innovation, and Entrepreneurship program. He brings 6 years of work and volunteer experience from the nonprofit industry. Sundar is a computer science graduate and has also recently completed the MMIE program as well. He brings 5 years of work experience developing websites and apps. And I'm a business communications graduate. I bring 5 years of work experience from the hospitality industry. We have recruited a diverse team of advisors to complement our team. JP Shearer is our business advisor and team mentor. Hamilton Petropoulos is our legal and investor advisor. Mohammed Sabai is our technical advisor, and Emily Pang is our industry advisor. She is the Chief Operating Officer of the Sick Kids Foundation. Since last week, with virtually no marketing, we have generated $2,000 in revenue, over 70 strategic partnerships, and over 6,200 unique visitors to our website. To propel this traction, we are seeking $30,000. This funding is necessary for us to reach product market fit and will be split in 3 different ways. The first will be used for research and development. The second will be used to redesign our product based off of customer feedback. And the third will be used to accelerate our tech development. There are 177,000 charities and nonprofits in Canada who need to focus on their cause and continue to do the amazing work that they do. Hero Hub will help them do that. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah. Make sure you guys can see the screen.
Can you talk a bit more about your revenue to date in terms of how it's come in different channels, different people?
Yeah, so last Tuesday is when we officially started reaching out to the organizations and getting them to onboard onto on the platform. So since Tuesday, we have 10 customers now, and we have it discounted for a promo subscription for the first 50 organizations, just so we can get a bunch on board really quickly. So yeah, we have about $2,000 in revenue since last Tuesday.
Is that recurring or one time?
It's an annual subscription, because we're doing the pilot in Kingston. We didn't want to do the monthly subscription for the pilot, but after the pilot, that's when we're going to be introducing our business model. Yeah.
Sorry, just to leverage off that, so are you moving away from annual pay in advance to monthly for some reason?
Okay. It's just to onboard a bunch of organizations at first, but yeah. Yep.
All right.
Yep. Did I answer that correct?
Yeah, sorry, I thought you were like, oh, we don't want the money annually in advance.
Oh, no, we definitely want, definitely want
don't
the money.
do that.
Yeah, no.
So these organizations, do they have a common profile, or are they a variety of different types?
See, that's the tricky situation that we're trying to work with our advisors. We're also trying to get into 3 different accelerators that have focuses on the sales process to help us understand this stuff. But as of now, we haven't really figured one out besides they don't have a marketing person. And we don't want to assume that that's all organizations, but a lot of them from what we do know, don't have somebody doing that. That's the one commonality, I would say.
Is there a sweet spot that you found in terms of size? Like, is there a minimum size of organization or minimum revenue for the organization before they'll look at what you want?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, smaller the better, because they're really cash-strapped. They don't have the volunteers. They don't have the employees. But we do actually we are providing value for organizations that do get bigger. It's just a different type of value. So smaller the better, I would say, for us to really help them or hit those pain points in a sense. Yeah.
So is the biggest challenge for your business in proving ROI to the individual nonprofits, whether or not you can build a community on the other side of this market to help them get more volunteers? Is that how you're going to be measured?
Are you, sorry, just to clarify the question, are you asking about the individual side of things?
Yes, so you have individuals you're selling your platform to that have a charitable organization and they want volunteers.
Yes.
So my guess is your big ROI is going to be the number of volunteers you can bring to your platform that they can more or less, if we call it monetize, using them as volunteers.
Yeah, exactly. The more individuals and businesses that we have on our platform, the more value it's going to provide to the charities and nonprofits. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Yeah.
So kind of leads to the next question, which is how do you start, how do you market and get those individuals?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when we did a risk analysis of Hero Hub, it was the multi-sided aspect that was going to be the biggest issue, the chicken and the egg. So we've actually devised a very innovative marketing strategy to get individuals on the platform. So right now, to give you an example, high school students in Ontario have to volunteer 40 hours in order to graduate. So what we're basically doing is going to help solve non-charitable needs with these 30 different channels. So some other examples would be employment agencies and funeral homes, a bunch of different stuff. But we're basically solving, yeah, I know, funeral homes. Everybody says what? So really quickly, my mom actually had this idea. Credit to my mom, she's watching somewhere. But basically, my grandma passed away last summer, and she had to go to the Northwest Territories from Nova Scotia, which is across the country. And she had a week to grieve, to deal with the estate, do all the legal stuff, everything, right? And then on top of that, she told me I had to figure out what to do with everything in the house. And I didn't want to throw away perfectly good things. Some of the stuff I couldn't sell, and I'd rather it just go to somebody that needed it, right? So we've partnered with a number of funeral homes to help their clients. Yeah. And it actually helps improve or maintain mental health. So when somebody's grieving with losing somebody, we can help them with that as well. Yeah. So yeah, very, very innovative marketing strategy. I hope I answered the question.
So is one of your sales strategies targeting high school guidance counselors? Like, are you setting yourself up? Is there a certain time frame you have to get to them by when they have to take these volunteer hours? So how are you doing that if that's going to be a big cohort for you to get on the platform?
100%. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to hit them from the bottom up, being the guidance counselors, but also the top down with like the superintendents and stuff like that. So we noticed this summer wasn't great because everybody's on vacation as teachers and school boards and stuff like that. So we've been told that just after school starts in September will be the best time to come and talk to them about helping their students. And from our research with the high school students, when they're having the biggest issue is at the end of the school year when they're trying to figure out all their, exactly, high school students. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at with that. We've done a lot of research with the high school students though.
One quick question. I noticed you didn't have volunteer match on your competitive board, and they're big in the US, right? Have you looked at them and how you stack up?
Yeah, so I guess those competitors were based off of Canada, for now. But yeah, in the future, there is a bunch more competitors that are focused down there,
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, everyone.
And there we have it. 14 teams, 14 presentations. I think we should all give them a big round of applause for all their hard work. I hope you've enjoyed the opportunity to see them and been as impressed as we have over the summer. A lot of these teams, they've gone from 0 to hero in 14 short weeks. Not a lot of time when you think about it in the entrepreneurial world. That's a blink of an eye. So before we dismiss for the deliberation, events like these don't happen by themselves. There's a lot of work done in the background to make events like this happen. And in fact, there's a staff that keeps this place going during the summer. So I'd like to thank Melanie and Joanna and Katie and Chloe and Danielle and Taylor for all their work this summer. They're the ones that have the boots on the ground, day-to-day operations, dealing with the students, and if that's not challenging enough, they get to try and herd us faculty members, which is next to impossible. So I'd really like to thank all of them for all their hard work this summer. So now I would like to invite you to join us for refreshments and hors d'oeuvres while the judges deliberate. We'll be announcing at 7:30 sharp back here on stage the results from the judges in their wisdom. For those of you that are online, this is your chance to go to the fridge, take a washroom break, make yourself some dinner, and then come on back at 7:30 online and join us for the results. Thank you very much, everybody. Okay. If I can ask you to please grab a seat, please. The judges are making their way to the stage to make the announcement. We're finally going to get to hear who wins American Idol. Oh, wrong show. Okay. Could you please grab a seat, please? The judges are coming in. See if that works. I raised 3 daughters. I know how to whistle. See, it works every time. Okay, here we go. Greg, am I turning it over to you? To Raj, here you go. Okay, Raj, it's all yours.
Good evening. Thanks for your patience and waiting. I'm Raj Melville, Executive Director of the Deshpande Foundation. And first of all, I want to thank all of you for being so patient and listening to the pitches and waiting for us. I also want to congratulate all the teams. You guys have done a great job, and the reason we're so late is because it was so tough trying to figure out who were going to be the winners over here. I've been here from day one when the first couple of events were happening, and it was just a handful. And we've come a long ways, seeing both the number of people that are over here, as well as the fact that we are live streaming. Greg says we have about 1,000 people listening to this, which is about 995 more than what was on day one. So, and this wouldn't happen, if it wasn't for the dedication of Jim, Greg, the staff that have been working on it, and also my cohorts, the judges who have been helping with this. So I really want to thank all of you for all the work that you put in. And they say entrepreneurship is a journey, and this is just one step in your journey. And no matter what you do, what you have learned in this experience in the summer is something, as you go back and look at what you've done, you'll remember the rest of your life. And I know, among us, we're fortunate to have one of our judges who has been on your side before. And I think, I'm sure she will also, attest to that. So I hope you enjoyed the experience. You built new friendships. Part of it is, the strength that you get from the cohort that you work with. And I, wish you all the best as you go forward and continue with the ideas. Regardless of, win, lose, or show, I think they're all great ideas. And I hope you would continue with them and build on them in the future. We're really looking forward to you because you are the future that's going to make a change happen in the world. So thank you. So I think we've decided who the awards are. Do we want to go in reverse order, or is there? Okay. So let's see. Do you have the list with you? Or? Yeah. All right. So we have two sets of awards. We had a set of awards that were the voice of the community out here, and we'll announce those first. And to do that, I'll ask Shelby to step forward and just go over the two.
Okay. I'm going to announce the first award, which is the Wisdom of the Market Award. And the crowd has voted, and we're giving $10,000 to Lifted.
second award too, right?
No, that's just.
All right. And I will now ask David. You. Yeah. So, David, you were going to do the.
Yeah, so the other award we had, and they were just doing a great job as well and pushing, is $5,000 to Big Lil to continue the great work that they're doing in the community. Sorry, Raj, wrong list.
All right. Then I would ask Ben to come by and or announce the next award.
Okay, so the next award we have coming up is for 5K. And before I announce it, I just want to reiterate how impressive each and every one of the pitches was today. It was a real honor to be here. And I'm just very proud of all of the progress that each of the teams today has made. We can unfortunately only give out so many prizes, but well done, everyone. And the next award of 5K goes to a team that we're seeing great progress from, and that's Research Stream. Congratulations.
And Ben's going to be the next award.
I just had a great time doing this. It was really a pleasure to be with my fellow judges and to be inspired by everything that we saw up here today. Thank you all for that. This next prize is for $10,000, and it gives me a lot of pleasure to be able to share this award. It's a straightforward business plan with a really good team, well qualified to execute it, and I'm pleased to announce $10,000 for Red Gold Afghanistan.
All right. All right. That's great. It's wonderful to see the support for that idea. The next one, I was going to announce the next one, and this one could be a world-changing innovation. It could change the way protein is delivered. Its source is something that we drink all the time, and so we're pleased to have a $15,000 award for Crumble. Allison, can we announce?
Okay, the next award is for a team that we were very impressed with in terms of not only the vision of the venture itself, but also the personal commitment that had been put into the project and where it's going. So the next award goes to Hero Hub for 15K.
Congratulations. Congrats. Good luck. Yeah.
As all the judges said, you know, I think of the number of times I've had to pitch and how my knees are knocking together, and I'm sure I'm talking a million miles an hour. You're all so impressive in the way that you've really handled yourselves, such decorum, just good professionalism, great slides and stories. So I'm fortunate to be able to talk about the top prize. We really looked at it from a business execution point of view, thought about it from a market opportunity perspective, and so we decided to choose Backer for $30,000 as the winner. Great work.
Thank you so much.
Good stuff. Oh. I will.
And thus endeth the event. Thank you very much, judges, for your time, your expertise, your thoughtful questions. We really appreciate the effort and welcome you back anytime here. Thanks to our judges. Please, everybody. And it's been a quick summer, 14 weeks. Remember when I said first day, first class? It's going to go by really fast, and it went by really fast. Thank you again for all the teams. Let's hear a round of applause for all our award winners. Have a great night. We'll see you later on in the week. Thank you very much. Good night, everybody. Thank you for those online.